It's the area round of the 2022 Texas High School football playoffs, and the stakes could not be higher. These are the picks. Welcome into the Picks, your guide to the Texas High School football weekend. My name is Greg Tepper of Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com. Thank you so much for tuning in. And after a wild and woolly first round of the Texas High School football playoffs, we are back for more into the area round of the playoffs and 176 UIL Texas High School football games scattered hither and yon across the state. And would you look at that? Those are my picks. I'm once again predicting every single Texas high school football game across the state at the UIL level. If I do not mention it out loud, then it's going to be on the scroll over here. But if I do mention it out loud, it's not going to be on the scroll. So save your comments. There are huge games everywhere you look. We start in Arlington. 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon at Globe Life Field in Arlington. It's a 5A Division II clash between the South Oak Cliff Golden Bears and the Lovejoy Leopards. What are the keys to this matchup? Key number 1, Sox offensive woes. Let's not parse words here. This has been a mess offensively for South Oak Cliff for pretty much the entire season. Obviously, last year, having quarterback Kevin Henry Jennings was such an important part of what they were able to do offensively en route to that historic state championship. But this year, their offense has just been stuck in the mud. Last week against Mansfield Summit, they had just 126 yards of total offense, just 2.6 yards per play. That's just not going to cut it. They're trying to figure out what the quarterback situation is. Is it Trey Walton? Is it Carter Kopecky? They're trying to find a way to get this offense going. Maybe the addition of Javon Thomas, the Texas A&M commit, back from injury will spark some life into this offense. But make no mistake, this South Oak Cliff offense is in a rut right now. They need to get out of it quickly if they're going to win another state championship, and especially if they're going to get past this round. Can they find some offensive consistency? Key number 2, the main event. So let's talk about one of the great strength-on-strength matchups that you're going to see in Texas high school football all year long. That's the Lovejoy receiver corps against the South Oak Cliff secondary, because both these teams may lay claim to having the finest unit in America. I mean that. When you take a look at Lovejoy, they are absolutely loaded with Parker Livingstone and Jackson Lavender and Kyle Parker. This team has playmakers everywhere out wide. On the other side, South Oak Cliff may have the best secondary in the nation. When you take a look at Malik Muhammad and Javon Thomas and Taylor Starling, they have dudes everywhere. This is Clash of Titans stuff. This is main event stuff. And the winner of that matchup, the Lovejoy wide receiver corps and the South Oak Cliff secondary, is probably going to win this game. So, who wins the main event? And key number 3, champion's advantage. So South Oak Cliff is the reigning 5A Division II state champions, and last year, en route to that title, they really throttled Lovejoy in a game right after they beat Aledo. They didn't skip a beat and cruised past the Leopards in a regional final matchup. And Lovejoy hasn't forgotten about that. They've wanted a piece of South Oak Cliff ever since that. They kind of got embarrassed there in the playoffs. But it does take a little something extra to beat a state champion. I think you see that everywhere you go. It's hard to take the crown from somebody, and South Oak Cliff has the crown. Now, Lovejoy is certainly capable of doing that. I think that their defense can make plays at the key moment. Of course, they've got that outstanding offense. But is that going to be enough? That'll be enough in a lot of games, right? But maybe not against a state champion. It takes that little bit of extra. So, does Lovejoy have what it takes to overcome the champion's advantage? Who am I picking? I'm going with South Oak Cliff. The defending state champs get the nod because to beat a man, you got to beat the man. Now, Lovejoy's got an opportunity to beat the man. I think the receiver corps is special. I think their offense is an opportunity to cook, but they are going up against one of the very best defenses in the state, and I'm not sure anybody at the 5A Division II level can move the ball consistently against South Oak Cliff. Now, I've got huge concerns about the South Oak Cliff offense. Major concerns, and they need to answer those sooner as opposed to later. But I do think they find just enough offense, and that defense does the rest. I think the Golden Bears get back to the regional semifinals. Let's go to 6A, 7 o'clock Friday night at the Ford Center in Frisco. It is a 6A Division II clash between unbeaten Denton Guyer and unbeaten Highland Park. How's this for an area-round matchup? One of only 2 matchups of unbeatens in the state of Texas. We'll get to the other one a little bit later. Highland Park's very quietly gone 11-0 in their first year back at the 6A ranks. I think quarterback Brennan Storer has been great. Wide receiver Grayson Schenk has grown into that true number 1 target, and their defense has been very good as well, allowing just 14 points per game. But this This is their biggest test of the year by a pretty considerable margin, and especially their first big test in 2 months. I mean, they rolled through their district, and Denton Guyer is a different animal. Jackson Arnold, their quarterback, is a star. Landon Sides out wide has been fantastic. And of course, they've got that do-it-all athlete in the backfield of both sides there with Peyton Bowen, and that, I think, might be the difference. Can Peyton Bowen make 1 or 2 extra plays? Now, Highland Park has a way of coming up with a little bit of magic in the playoffs. They're fond of saying that Scots find a way. They'll need to find a way against one of the very best teams in the state of Texas. I think this game is close, but I do think Guyer gets the win. 7:30 p.m. Friday night at Memorial Stadium in Victoria. It is a 4A Division I area round matchup between the Corpus Christi Calallen Wildcats and the San Antonio Davenport Wolves. You want to talk about a pedigree disparity. Calallen's looking for their all-time 93rd playoff win in their program history, while San Antonio Davenport is looking for their second in their first year as a varsity program. It's been really impressive to see this Davenport team go with running back Shaston Golden. He's going to go over the 2,000-yard mark in this game on the season, and he has been spectacular. The real driving force behind what's been a very special year for the Wolves in their first UIL season. Going up against Calallen, who is a little bit different under first-year coach Steve Campbell. They're actually throwing the ball a fair amount with Bryce Burnett, their quarterback, but same old defense has been fantastic, led by Jude Hernandez. That's where I think for Davenport, they've got to match that defensive intensity for Calallen. Davenport's allowing a little under 30 points a game. That's not going to cut it against Calallen. They need to play their best defensive game of the year. I think Calallen comes away with a close win. 7 o'clock Friday night at Primm Stadium in Sulphur Springs, the 3A Division II area round matchup between the Dangerfield Tigers and the DeKalb Bears. And I think we could be in for an East Texas shootout in this one because two big-time offenses are going to fire at one another. DeKalb, I think, is a bit of a sleeper in 3A Division II. Love what they bring offensively with quarterback Caleb Dooley and running back Winky Williams, who has been excellent, at almost as good as his name is. But they're going up against a Dangerfield offense that I think can match them score for score. With Chase Johnson at the quarterback spot, big-time prospect out wide, and Jakevian Rogers. They're also able to run the ball pretty well with Deco Wright at the running back spot. So who comes with stops? That's the real question in this one. I think this is going to be a track meet, back and forth, but I give the very slight edge to Dangerfield. 6 o'clock Friday night at Pirate Stadium in Woodrow. It's a 2A Division I area round matchup between the Cisco Lobos and the Stratford Elks. Is Stratford the most under-the-radar, undefeated, defending state champion ever? They might be. They've won 23 games in a row, y'all. They've been fantastic. The defending 2A Division II state champs make the move up to 2A Division I and are making it look pretty easy. Defense has been fantastic with Julio Valdez, and the 1-2 punch offensively with Bryce Braden at the quarterback spot and Zane Burr running the ball has been very hard to stop. Here comes Cisco, who I do think is playing their best football of the year right now. Quarterback Hunter Long is in complete command of this offense. Their defense has been pretty darn good, really smothered Reagan County last week. I think this is a coin flip game, really and truly, and it could really go either way. I think it's going to come down to 1 or 2 plays, maybe in special teams or a turnover late, but I do think I give the edge to Cisco. And 7:30 p.m. Friday night at Archie Warwick Memorial Stadium in Lubbock. It's a 1A Division II area round matchup between the Klondike Cougars and the Whitharral Panthers. Fascinating matchup here. I think Klondike's a lot better than their 8-3 record indicates. They played a very tough schedule, and I think that their spread back Creed Warren's really starting to cook as the season has gone on. But they'll have a big test this week against Whitharral, whose defense has been fantastic, allowing just 20 points per game. That's really good at the 6-man level. And they've got a big-time playmaker themselves in Shamadrick Weaver. They're going to be throwing haymakers back and forth at one another. I think this game is close and comes down to 1 score at the end, but I do think that Klondike gets the win. But those are far from the only big games in the area round of the Texas High School Football Playoffs. Remember, if I don't mention your game out loud, my pick is scrolling on the left side of your screen. Let's get to the lightning round. In 6A Division I think Atascocita beats Clear Springs, and North Crowley stays perfect with a win over El Paso Pebble Hills. San Benito gets by San Antonio Taft, and I like Spring Westfield over Klein Collins. 6A Division II now, I like DeSoto over Rockwall Heath. Give me Humble Summer Creek to take down Alvin Shadow Creek, and I like Austin Vandegrift over Converse Judson. 5A Division I now, Aledo beats Lubbock Cooper, but keep an eye on that one, and I like Longview over Frisco Lone Star. I'm going with Smithson Valley over Manville, and in the Rio Grande Valley's best chance to make a state semifinal in years, I think PSJA North gets by Corpus Christi Miller. 5A Division II now, I like Argyle over Wichita Falls Rider. Give me Alamo Heights to take down Gregory Portland. And I like Austin LBJ in a close one over Port Neches Groves. 4A Division I, I like Brownwood over Canyon. Tyler Chapel Hill gets by Bay City. And what could be a wild shootout, I like Anna over Stephenville. 4A Division II now, Wichita Falls Hershey gets by upstart Canyon West Plains. And Aubrey beats Center. Give me Cuero over Sealy, and Sinton beats Lago Vista. 3A Division I now, I like Bushland over Jim Ned, and ooh, we're getting to the good stuff in Region 2. I like Malakoff over Winsboro. Llano wins a squeaker over Goliad, and give me Franklin over Anahuac. Close games to call in 3A Division II, I like Bells over Comanche, give me Poth over Bowling, and Wall gets by Childress. To 2A Division I we go. Beckville gets by Joaquin, I like Flatonia over Three Rivers, and to keep an eye on this one in Central Texas, I like Crawford just barely over Coleman. 2A Division II now, I like Wellington over Sudan, and Price Carlisle gets by Wortham. Albany takes down Munster, and Chilton beats Brackettville. And down in the 1A ranks, in 1A Division II, I like Lorraine over Richland Springs, and in 1A Division I, I'm going with Happy over Knox City, and Abbott beats Gilmer Union Hill in that other match of unbeatens. And those are the picks. I picked all 176 UIL Texas High School football playoff games. Guarantee I got at least one of those right. And so now you can let me know, what am I wrong about? Leave comments down below. Don't forget that subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And of course, see us at texasfootball.com, where you can find complete coverage of the 2022 Texas High School football playoffs at texasfootball.com/playoffs. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the area round of the Texas High School football playoffs. We'll see you.